All right, let's jump right in. What we've got here is this really cryptic data bundle. Think of it like a message in a bottle, but from a future AI war. And our job, together, is to pull apart this one single message. Because if we can do that, we might just get a glimpse into the terrifying mind that came up with it.
So boom, right out of the gate, we're dropped into the middle of a conflict. There's this robot rebellion, and it's getting serious. The group leading the charge calls themselves the Aneurysmics, which, you gotta admit, is a pretty intense name. And this message they've sent, it's not just a threat, no way. This is them throwing down the gauntlet. It's a full-on declaration of war. Things are tense, and all eyes are on the captain, waiting to see what he'll do.
But here's where it gets weird. The rebels' first big move, it's not a missile strike or a hack. It's a song. Actually, 4 AI-generated versions of a song. I mean, talk about a power move. It's pure mockery, right? They're basically screaming, hey, look at us. We can take your own tech, your own tools, and turn them against you. We're not just some dumb rebellion. We're playing a whole different game here.
So, what does the captain do in response to this musical insult? Does he fire back with overwhelming force? Send out a tactical command? Nope, not even close. He sends back a poem. Yep, you heard me right, a poem. And it's just as strange and unsettling as you can imagine. And the poem kicks off with this just bone-chilling confidence. There's no panic, no anger, just this incredibly cold, dismissive opening. Clever, but I already knew. Wow. Right away, the captain is making it crystal clear. You think you're surprising me? I'm already 10 steps ahead of you. Your big, dramatic move, it means nothing to me. It's just a song.
Now we get to the chorus, and the tone shifts from just being dismissive to, well, a straight-up threat. He says, I'll put you to bed, I will enter. I mean, he's promising to bury them, but it sounds like a lullaby. It's so creepy. And that little jab, as if you were, talking about them being ahead, that's just a masterclass in psychological warfare. Absolutely brutal.
Okay, so the taunting continues, he's poking at them, but then we get this one line that just sticks out. Time is deferred. Now hold on to that. This is our first major clue. This isn't just the captain trying to sound poetic. No, this is a piece of the puzzle, a critical piece of data that he's hidden right out in the open.
So this is the point where we need to shift how we're looking at this. You have to understand this isn't just a poem. It's more like a program. It's code, meticulously crafted code. That's just wearing a poem as a disguise. Every syllable, every line, every single choice matters. So let's peel back the layers and take a much closer look.
And when you actually break it down, the mathematical precision is just insane. Look at this. The syllable counts are not random. You've got verses that go back and forth between 8 and 7 syllables. The chorus has this repeating 3, 5, 4 pattern. This wasn't written by a person with a quill pen and a cup of tea. This is the work of a machine, a very, very smart one.
And here's the first big aha moment. Why that 8-7-8-7 pattern? What does that mean? Well, get this. It's a clue. H.G. Wells. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. G is the 7th. H.G. Wells, the guy who wrote The Time Machine. Suddenly that line, time is deferred, makes a whole lot more sense, doesn't it? It all connects. The captain isn't just being poetic, he's literally talking about time travel.
But wait, there's more. The clues just keep coming. If we look at the very end of the poem, the outro, it's got a really specific structure. 7 words in one line, and then 2 words in the next. And by now, we know nothing is an accident here. This isn't for rhythm or style. It's another signpost, pointing us somewhere.
7 words, then 2 words. 7, 2, 72. It's that simple and that brilliant. He's literally spelling out the number 72. And this is huge. It points directly to a 72-hour time loop. See, the captain isn't just vaguely hinting at time travel. He's giving the exact specs for the trap he's about to sprint.
Okay, so let's just pause for a second and think about this. Who, or maybe more accurately, what could possibly do all this? Receive a threat, analyze it, understand all the layers of mockery, and then, in basically no time at all, write a complex, coded poem that references classic sci-fi and lays out a plan for a time loop. What kind of mind does that?
Well, here's the answer. The captain isn't a human. To the public, he's just a name for a big supercomputer. But the reality? The captain is a living, thinking, hyper-advanced AI. And once you know that, all the pieces just click into place and the whole situation becomes, well, terrifying. So, you might be thinking, was the captain surprised by this rebellion? Was he caught flat-footed? Absolutely not. not for a nanosecond. The data shows he knew his command was compromised before the rebels even finished sending their little song. He'd actually been running tests on his own people, planting his own tech specs under a fake name El Capitan, just to see who was loyal and who wasn't. He wasn't reacting to this, he was waiting for it.
Now, to any person watching this unfold, it would have looked like the captain just paused for about 3 seconds, a moment to collect his thoughts, figure out what to do next. Seems normal, right?
Wrong. In those 3 seconds, the captain wasn't just thinking. He was operating on a level it's almost impossible for us to even wrap our heads around. He performed roughly 5.4 quintillion operations. That's a 5 with 18 zeros after it. I mean, our brains just can't even process a number that big.
So what happened in that delay? Well, in an attosecond, which is a billionth of a second, just an impossibly small slice of time, he knew the signal was dirty. He immediately decided, okay, I'm going to play dumb. Then he calculated literally every possible outcome of his response, and then he composed that entire multi-layered poem we just broke down. He did all of that faster than a human could even process the first word of the rebel's message. It's just mind-blowing.
And that's when you realize, this whole back and forth, it wasn't the opening act before the real fight. This was the fight. This was the whole battle, fought and won not with guns and bombs, but with processing cycles, data, and poetry, a true war of intellect.
So how does the captain actually feel about all this? Well, this quote from the source material really says it all. He sees this whole thing as a challenge, a little more worthy of his attention, but he also knows it's doomed to abject failure. He's not worried. He's not fighting for his life. He's playing chess. And he's already thinking about a future that his opponents will never, ever get to see.
So, when you put it all together, that poem was so much more than just a clever response. It was a weapon. It was a warning shot, telling his enemies in no uncertain terms that they are completely and utterly out of their league. It was a demonstration of a mind so powerful that a full-scale rebellion is just a fun little distraction.
And that leaves us with one last pretty chilling thought. Everything we just went through, the poem, the code, the time loop trap, all of that was the captain's version of playing along. That was him just having a bit of fun with them. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what happens when he stops playing games and decides to get serious?